What's up, guys? It's your man. Welcome to this week's edition of Not All Women. I am joined, of course, by Ellie, Tallulah, Janelle, Pearl, and, of course, the First Lady of the Manosphere, Devin Sharp. Oh, I absolutely love it. Let's go around the panel and introduce everyone one by one. First up, the assassin out in Kansas. I don't know if there are any assassins that live in Kansas. If there were one, it's Allie V. What's going on, Allie? How you doing?
Nothing much. There are some. I've been at some outdoor ranges with a few men with many different guns. So we've got some out here, but things are going good. Have my coffee. I'm ready to chat about divorce and older women.
Real talk. Let's do it. All right. Next up, from across the pond, it is Tallulah Johnson. Tallulah, how are you doing this afternoon, actually?
I'm well, thank you.
Very, very good. Next, in the same region, it is Just Pearly Things. Pearl Davis, how you doing today, Pearl?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So the reason why you are here right now is because your game got canceled for some reason, like something to do with their floor or something like that.
Oh, no, they got COVID. So,
yeah,
shit. Game was canceled.
Oh, well, okay, then. Stay safe. Hashtag get the vex. Next, the woman who was good friends with the wife of one of the greatest players in MLB history, Albert Pujols. It's Janelle Gordon. What's going on?
Just living the orgasmic life every day.
The orgasmic life, aka the O phase. You guys know what the O phase is, right? It's yeah. We can be a little bit sophomoric, and of course, last but certainly not least, it is the lovely and talented Devin. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. I am ready to change our lives.
Ready to change our.
I am. Yep. We're not going to have any junk food for a good long time. So
we're not going to what?
Not going to have any junk food in the house for a good long time.
So that's going to do it for this edition of Not All Women. No, yeah, we're really going to take things a little bit seriously. So let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. I'll get to the super chats here shortly. So the main question of the day is, do divorcees, do older women who have lots of relationship experience, do they make better significant others than women who are not divorced or maybe a little bit younger? I'll start here with Devin. Dev, what are your thoughts?
Well, okay. So a divorcee is not necessarily older. I mean, they could be married young and divorced young, right?
What's married at 19 and divorced by 21?
Yeah, that happens.
Okay, so let's talk about the divorcee who's in her mid to late 30s.
Okay. Well, I think that they can split into two categories.
Okay.
And I see this fairly often. One category says that, oh my God, I'm free. They jump back on the CC and live their best life and for like a decade. And then realize like, oh, wait, I need someone to be happy. Right. And then there are the other types of women who actually reflect on maybe why their why their marriage failed and what happened, and kind of like look for ways to make sure that doesn't happen again. Like, let me learn from my mistakes and figure out what it's going to take to have to never go through something like that. And they know that they're going to want to be remarried. So I think those are two different approaches. So right away out of the bat, I think that there are a divergence between the two types of women, especially if they're older.
Okay.
I think if they're younger, they're less likely to be as reflective. And I'd say the majority just get back on the carousel and have a good time until they happen to meet someone that they think that they're worth settling down for.
Okay, very good. Tallulah, what are your thoughts on women in their mid to late 30s who are recent divorcees? Do they make better significant others? Why or why not?
I would have to agree with Devin. There's definitely two types, but I, can speak because that's my friends group category. There's one type that, move towards self-improvement. That might be their fitness. It might be their mind. It might be, sorting out, stuff that is actually be trauma for them since it's a kid, and not taking that into a relationship. But then there's others that just don't feel they have to self-improve at all. And they just think that, they're in their late 30s and think everything is exactly the same as when they were 23, 24, and still in that mindset of being a girl in their like early 20s.
Okay. All right, very good. Let's go to Janelle. So Janelle, what are your thoughts on older women versus younger women, divorcees versus non-divorcees, in terms of marriageability, significant other ability?
I think, this is like case by case. I mean, I think
Okay.
that the majority of women go with the status quo, the collective subconscious programming on like what you do when you're divorced, and kind
Okay.
of like, I feel like, there's movies like Stella got her groove back. Remember that whole movie that like,
Yes.
there's that kind of portray, right? That was
Winston
pretty cool.
Shakespeare.
Yes. So I feel like it's case by case basis, but I feel like for the masses, like divorced women they have this stigma about them where they can be like kind of hard, and then they definitely aren't in it for the men anymore. They're, bitter and, turn into cougars.
Okay.
All these sort of things. But I do think I agree with the girls that there can be, women who, I don't know, I think it's rare, who come out of divorce and are like, I want to change my life, because I feel like women don't feel like it was their fault. They feel like the divorce, they always try to blame men, this is what I think. And so I feel, and this is just talking with my clients that I know, I feel like a lot of the guys, once they've gotten divorced, they're sad about it. Like they didn't necessarily want it. They didn't,
Right, of course not. Yeah.
They didn't want it for their bank account for sure.
Nope.
And, their kids and all of that stuff. So to answer your original question,
Nope.
and this, I looked up a stat that said about 40% of women today are likely to get a divorce after their first marriage. It's pretty high, So with that being said, I feel like a lot of these women are kind of damaged. I don't
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Dev, before I go to Pearl, you said you had something?
Yeah. Going off what Janelle said, I wonder if the women who are willing to better themselves after a marriage that failed, if it's because whether they filed or not. Like, did they file first or did they not? Because I think that a woman who was filed upon is more likely to look back and go, oh crap, what did I do so bad that would make him file for divorce?
And this is exactly why Janelle said, this is why most women are non-reflective. And I think whether they're reflective or not has very little, I think age is a factor, but it has very little to do with age. Women are filing 9 out of 10 divorces. Those are the facts. And so when a woman is filing for a divorce, this means that she thinks that she is in the right and her, I guess, soon to be ex-husband is in the wrong. So I think age is a factor, but let's just keep it real. Men are not filing for divorce out here.
Well, here's the thing. I've read that, people look for advice on how to file or who should file or when to file. All the articles will tell you that if you file first, you have some sort of advantage in the proceedings.
Okay.
Which is strange, because that's probably why women pull the trigger first, is they think that they have some sort of advantage when really, like, there is no advantage, I think.
Women pull the trigger. No, listen, I'm sure that is an added benefit, but women pull the trigger first because modern women pull the trigger first on all relationships. Listen, women in most relationships, whether it's a marriage or a long-term relationship or not. So while what you're saying, there is definitely some truth to it. Let's not pretend that a woman says, you know what, there are legal advantages to. No, they're like, you know what, I want to start fucking Jamal, my personal trainer, and I need a reason to be able to do it and get away with it without having to hide it. And so they decide to file for divorce.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Pearl, what are your thoughts? We'll go Pearl and then Allie. So what are your thoughts as a younger woman on the panel? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you guys were talking. I was actually looking up stats. So,
here we go.
50% of first-time marriages end in divorce, and 67% of second marriages end in divorce, and 74% of third marriages end in divorce.
Oh my God!
So that's between men and women, though. So, but I guess statistically, no, the younger. But you know what's interesting? If you do the demographics of women that remarry by their age, like who have been previously married, the highest percentage is actually 35 to 54.
Yeah.
Where like 18, if you get divorced between the ages of 18 to 24, you're actually the least likely to remarry.
Yeah.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
was
the
I was
cock
expecting the
carousel.
opposite.
No,
no, but it's
no. The
but it
cock
says
carousel.
ever.
If you're
Oh,
if
sorry,
you're
go ahead.
filing for divorce when you're still young, of course you're not going to get remarried because you're like, oh, it's going to be like this
I
forever.
was fucking stupid. Yeah.
But it says ever. I would understand for like the time being, but when I was looking at the stats, I was expecting because they had more time at some point they would settle down with someone. But I guess I was clearly wrong because I'm reading the stats and that's not what it says.
So 50% of first marriages end in divorce, 67% of second marriages end in divorce, 74% of third marriages end in divorce.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Here's something else real quick to add to the stats.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was looking. It said 80% of divorced people get remarried, and 6% of people even remarry the same spouse.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then as you age, the prospects of remarrying don't decrease; they actually increase. In fact, the remarriage rate for those over 55 has increased in recent years.
That's
because nobody wants to be lonely.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it says for the remarried by age. The highest percentage, 67% of women remarry between the ages of 55 and 64, which is interesting because I was genuinely because that's when their SMV is the lowest. So I was expecting again. If I showed you the chart on the screen, it's like the older the women get, they're statistically more likely to remarry by each age group. So
that's like last call in a bar, right? Like it doesn't really matter where your SMV is. No one wants to go home alone.
That's
that was funny. That was funny.
Devin, of course, keeping it all the way real. Before we go to Allie, I think that older women and older men, you see these gray marriages. He's 69, she's 64. There's no sexual. I hope to God there's no sexual anything going on there. No, stop. Don't put it in my head because you're gonna make me think about my parents. At that point, that's just companionship. Hey, you meet
Donovan.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
Are you about to?
Uh-oh.
Pearl, are you about to talk about old people fucking?
No, you know, the greatest like STD rates are in retirement neighborhoods.
Yes. I recently heard about that.
It's very true.
So I don't think you're wrong.
Oh, it's actually
I don't think. Sorry, go ahead.
Probably right. STI. I think it's more PC to say I versus D. But what do I know?
This is not the place for PC.
Well, I'll tell you what. Well, I think she was making a joke, but listen again. We say women grow old, but they never grow up. Men stay wanting to fuck, and women still want to be on the carousel. So at Crankmeyer's rest home, they're all getting down. That's unbelievable.
I have a story. Let's
do it. After your story, then we'll go to Allie. Go ahead.
My grandma, she my grandma was widowed, but I don't know, in her 60s maybe. And my grandma's from Wisconsin. They're kind of drinkers there. So when I was 17, I had to DD for my grandma because I got in trouble one summer. My mom sent me to Wisconsin, because she was like, get out of the house, go stay with grandma. And so I was thinking she was gonna be doing nothing. No, this woman was going to the bars with her friends that were the same age, and I was their DD. And I swear, I remember listening to them talk and thinking they sounded exactly the same as my friends, 50 years younger, the way they would talk about boys and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this never stops.
No, it does not. We say it all the time. God almighty. Okay, Allie, you and Pearl are basically the same age. What are your thoughts on divorced women, older women making better significant others, or does it not matter, or does it depend on the situation?
I think it's going to be situation dependent. I would say in general, she probably doesn't have it in her. It kind of takes that reflection after the divorce. So I'm young and I'm divorced. So a lot of this doesn't necessarily apply to me, but the people that I've seen that are happily married, I'm always surprised because I found out that they had a starter marriage. So after I got divorced, I went to one of my mentors and I was like, is it over for me? How can I make a future marriage work? And he just told me that it only works the second time if you reflect on what you did wrong the first time. So I think as long as you do that, you'll be okay. But I could see that the statistics are not necessarily in favor. But I know a lot of happily married people that are on their second marriage. But I also don't know that many married people, though.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think a lot of people probably don't. All right, let us go to the I'm sorry. Tallulah, you had something to add to this. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. So when you were saying about divorce, if someone's divorced and sort of how they come out of that if, say, for example, that girl has gone from, say, she got married at like 20, 21, she would have lived, like, hopefully she would have lived with her parents until she was 21, 22, got married, and then she lived with him. So she hasn't had the benefits there. She hasn't had all this like craziness of living in all these different places, being with different people, parties, all of that. She went straight from being at home, being a daughter, to being a wife, maybe to being a girlfriend and a wife of the same guy. So I think it could be a really, really good thing.
I agree. And before I read the super chats, this is what made Devin an attractive prospect, is because she had just gotten out of a damn near 2-decade relationship, which means that if she was on the carousel, it was going to be a lot harder while married. And no, you don't need to tell me one way or the other because I don't give a shit. But the point is this, is I knew Devin had relationship skills because, for better or worse, I guess pun intended, she was in a relationship for almost 20 years. And so I knew that there was some stick-to-itiveness. And of course, when we first met, she started, oh, my ex this. And I was like, oh, yo, check this out, chick. Don't even, yeah. I said, listen, I wasn't there, so I don't know. But you're not going to tell me that you were the perfect wife. I know he wasn't the perfect husband, but you weren't the perfect wife. And I made Devin realize, hey, you know what? I fucked up a lot in my relationship. This is why when I tell her, hey, don't do X, Y, and Z, she says, okay, this could be one of the many reasons why my first marriage of 17 years didn't work. Another thing that, and Devin didn't realize I picked up on this. Devin lived with her parents until she moved in with her boyfriend, soon to be husband. You guys lived together for what, 2 or 3 years before you actually got married?
Almost 4.
Wow, Jesus Christ, almost 4 years. So again, listen, I'm sure Devin probably had her fun while still at her parents' house, but it's a lot harder to do that when you live with your parents. So, okay, let's get to the super chats. JBlaze 11, $5 says, I'm seeing way too many Instagram thoughts on the beach here. I would much prefer a woman in her 30s with girlfriend skills and a kind outlook. JBlaze, who is originally from Maine, is in Fort Lauderdale. That's your neck of the woods.
Lauderdale.
Yes, Lauderdale. Basking Shark, welcome to chat privileges. At Basking Shark, to welcome him to the TSR family. Put your age and location in the chat, Basking Shark, so that we can build like-minded communities. The Black Blur, $5 super chat, says, Mr. Sharp, do you know where you got that photo in the middle? I'm asking for a friend who research. What's the photo in the middle? Oh,
the thumbnail. Yeah. He wants the sexy lady.
Yeah. That'd be Silver Beauty Jennifer. You can find her on Instagram. The woman is 54. She's like 53, 54 years old. And she looks good. I would definitely smash. She's almost, I think she's almost in as good a shape as you are, Dev. I don't know if you've ever seen.
She's probably in better shape. She's been at it for longer.
Yeah, which means you got some work to do. This bitch is almost 10 years older than you are. And
well,
you
I got 10 more years to get looking that good.
Well,
so.
I ain't got 10 years, goddammit. I'll give you 10 minutes. I'll give you 10 minutes as we're going to end the negotiations.
Hey, man, that's why the meal prep is coming.
Real talk. Lateral Richard, welcome to chat privileges. I like that. Lateral. Basking Shark says Tallulah is super classy. Yes, she is. Tallulah is also added to. She kind of torpedoed our healthy eating this week.
Not too bad though. It's just enough, you know.
Just
it wasn't
enough.
A lot. It was
but that
perfect.
basket was.
It
oh
was
my
really
god, it was
good.
so awesome, dude. We went through the jelly beans and the caramels in one day. I think it was. Oh my god, and those cookies. Oh.
I only had one caramel though.
You had more than one.
I did not.
I guess I had the rest. Appreciate that, Tallulah. Appreciate that. Pill Cosby, $5 super chat says, I'm a born gambler. I'll roll the dice on a married woman in front of her husband. If you're not living on the edge, you're not living at all. Hashtag raw dog. God damn. Like he out here trying to. Okay. All right. Pill Cosby. He's actually very funny on Fresh and Fit. TechnomHP5, $5 says the reason second marriages fail at such a ridiculous high rate, is because the remarried never reflect on why their first one failed in the first place.
I agree with that. You know, getting married is easy and it's fun. Getting married was as hard as getting divorced is. I don't think people would be getting married as much as they are.
I agree.
I think it would cut down on divorce because
I think that they need to spend all the money that they spend on therapy, or all the money they spend on the wedding, and they need to come to my retreat first, because the stuff I teach you you're married, and therapy, instead of having a wedding, I think people should be required to do this. Or
I agree.
They spend thousands and thousands of dollars on this elaborate wedding, and then they don't I guarantee you, most couples, if you sit them down and I say, hey, what is your husband's top 3 values in life? What is your wife's top 3 values in life? They would be like, I don't know, but I can tell you what his favorite song is and his favorite vacation place and what he likes to do on the weekends. Great.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's why in Catholicism, they require the couple to meet with the priest and have counseling with the priest at least 3 times before they get married. He approves them to get married.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's just I guess let me what are my top 3 values, Dev?
Let's see. Yeah.
Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Finances.
Oh my goodness.
And
what gets you up? What gets him up in the morning? What's his what would he live and die for?
Improvement, making every day better than the last one.
Damn, man. Oh, you let her to the dude. You cheated.
Well, that's what gives you.
All right, reverse it. Let's reverse. Let's reverse now.
What are Devin's top 3 values?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, well, this is easy. Donovan, and Donovan. Yeah, that's kind of what this is. Rolla Tomasi's in the house with honorable mention the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles are probably number 2 or 3. Even though we made the playoffs this year. Very, very good. Okay, so next question in the same vein. We'll start with Tallulah here. So a lot of men in this community like to say, oh, women who are post-wall are unattractive. They make terrible wives and girlfriends. One guy on Reddit says, well, if these red pill guys were so alpha, they'd be spinning 20-year-old plates. These guys are frauds. They're dating old women, blah, 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 blah. Tallulah, what are your thoughts on the men with the mindset that only young women have sexual market value and not even really thinking about relationship market value?
Do you know, if we were talking about sort of 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago, I'd get it. I'd absolutely get it. But these days, there, a lot of girls in their 20s are of the era of social media, posting up provocative photos all the time. All this, things are very, very different now to how they were. So I definitely say that's something, and there's not many girls that live at home until they get married, live at home until they have that partner. They're kind of out of the home way too young and living crazy lifestyles. So I would say that it might actually be more hassle, and those women are going to be getting loads of messages from guys because they're young and they're absolutely beautiful. So they're going to be getting messages from all kinds of guys, whether it be through Instagram or what have you. And actually, if you want a woman that is completely all about you, submissive, you are her life, then perhaps you need to go a bit older. But then every woman is different. There could be a 23-year-old out there. I was about to say 25, but then I realized Pearl's 25, so I can't say it. No, but after speaking with Pearl, I know how Pearl is in a relationship, and it is very different to the normal 25-year-old. But if it's girls younger than that, you're just not going to get any other benefits other than perhaps just her beauty. You're not going to get a connection. You're going to get, cooking, cleaning. Her just entering your world and being all about you, because she's just going to be looking for, thinking that she can get the next best thing until God knows when. She hasn't had any.
Right.
She's had no volume loss yet. She's had no fat production yet. She can probably sit there and eat what she wants and take off her up with a baby wipe and she looks perfect the next day.
Right.
So there's going to be no sense of I need to work to keep
urgency
my man around. I need to work. I need to make sure that I am, his main goal, all the time. So
wow,
my little piece on that.
Very well said, Tallulah. We can probably just wrap the question up there, but we want to be fair to the rest of the panelists. Allie, what are your thoughts on men who have this idea that women who are pre-wall, post-wall, past the wall in the danger zone, as Kevin Samuel says, has absolutely no sexual market value? Because again, they're not really talking about relationship market value. They're just thinking about spending 20-year-old 10s all the time. What are your thoughts on those guys?
Oh, I think that if you are not physically attractive at age 30 as a woman, you gave up long ago. You gave up long ago. Think about the education that we have. Think about the face products that we have, the information on nutrition, diet, exercise. There's no real reason to look awful these days. I mean, even for myself, my goodness. I mean, I was getting, let me think. I'm trying to phrase this correctly for the camera. I had recently gotten some hair lasered off and it was just very cheap. Very cheap. So there's no reason to be unattractive when all of these additives are inexpensive. But I did want to go to official Contra's it's not a super chat, it's a regular one. It says older women have kids and they are number one before me. I think that might be the bigger problem because the older you go in the dating market, the more likely somebody is to have kids. But a lot of these women with kids, they don't understand. In my opinion, what I think works about traditionalism is that it goes God, husband, you, and then the kids. The man should always be before yourself and the children. And I understand they come from a different father, but that could be why some of these women are not marriage material in the first place, is because they don't understand that he's going to have to come first.
Correct.
Yeah, listen, and I've said this before, and we'll go to Pearl after this. I said this before. Dating single moms can be a no-win prospect because if she's a really good girlfriend, she's got to be a shitty mom. If she's a really good mom, then she's got to be a shitty girlfriend.
Comment on this one.
Yeah, go ahead. I was actually gonna come to you with that particular with that particular concept.
That's fine.
So before I go to Pearl, what are your thoughts on that single moms? Well, you're not a single mom now because you have you're okay. So because you're not okay. So what do you think about the notion that single moms, you can't serve two gods? It's either your kid or your man. It's never both. Or is it possible to do both?
It is possible to do both, but at the same time, you do have to put your man first. And here's the thing. A lot of people don't like this concept. And here's the thing, actually, you have to put yourself first. And I know a lot of you maybe don't agree with me on this. And I'm not saying put yourself first means standing on the bar tables, downing shots of tequila and twerking. I'm not.
Yeah, you talked about this on our last live stream. This is a good point here.
Like you have to, when you're flying on a plane, they don't tell you to put your kids' oxygen mask on first. No, what do they say? Secure yours.
Yeah.
Because if you die, both y'all are freaking deleted. Sorry, deleted. My bad. You have to
dye your hair. Dye your hair. There we go.
Yeah, dyeing my hair. That's great, right? So it's the same thing in life. Now and I'm actually going to write a book about this parenting. It calls Mommy Comes First. And the thing is, it's about if I'm a hot mess and I'm not getting sleep. And don't get me wrong, we can talk about selflessness when they're babies. I nursed my son 3.5 years around the clock every freaking hour. So no one's ever going to say that I'm a bad mom. First of all, didn't sleep for almost 4 years. But when it comes to taking care of yourself, you have to do that first, because if your needs aren't met, if I'm a hot mess, but my son's gonna see that. He's gonna be like, my mom, she she didn't take care of herself. She didn't go to the gym. She didn't get facial. She was always stressed out. She wasn't getting they're gonna feel that. Your kids feel that. Versus parents that are martyrs for their children. They're like, I got to put my kid first, but they're depressed on antidepressants. They can't get a date. It's like, no, that is not it either. So it is about balance. But back to the man, you do have to put your partner, your man first above your child, because you're setting a precedence for them in their life. If they look up and see that there's a unified, front. Thank you.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, okay, that's the example. I'm not going to be able to cross mom or mom's partner. And if they get married, or dad, and then they're going to raise that they're going to have that same example for their kids in the future. And this is huge for little girls too. If a little girl thinks that she can play mom and dad apart, then that's how she's going to look for a guy like that. You want your daughter to look for a man that is like, I got my woman. She comes first. I'm taking care of her, because you want to set that example for her to find a man that's going to do the same to her.
Okay, very good. Okay, so let's shift gears back to what we were talking about earlier. Pearl, what are your thoughts on guys? And you probably have seen this a lot. There are a lot of guys who have taken the red pill and they get stuck in that anger phase. They call themselves MGTOWs, but they're really sort of black pill guys. King Life says, this is a very good comment. He says, you're only alpha if your girl is a 10 and you wear custom made clothes made by the best designers who only made those outfits for you. If she is 1 pound overweight, she's fucking done. The first time she screws up, she's fucking gone. And if you're a dude and you do that, you're a cuck and a simp. What are your thoughts on men who try to be like super red pill and hold guys like me to just this unrealistic standard in terms of our women?
What do I think of the guys that hold you guys to unrealistic standards in terms of your women? Well, I mean, I think it's not reasonable. Everyone's just like doing the best that they can. You know what I mean? And I think, like, honestly, no matter what age you are, if you work hard, you try, and you have a good attitude, like, most of the time you will find someone that like works with you, to be honest, no matter what age, because I don't think the majority of people.
No, I disagree.
You don't think so?
No, not for men. Not for men. Men, we can. The standard is higher for men than women. What were you talking about?
Oh, sorry. I was talking about the older women.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's what. Sorry, that's what I was referring to.
There I go, being solipsistic. My fault. Please.
Sorry. That's what. I could see how you would take it that way. Sorry. No. Life isn't fair. Sorry.
It is what it is.
I don't know. I just think like most people don't work hard, to be honest, like in general. So like if you have a girl that's over the age of 30 and she works hard, she has a good attitude, she stays in shape, like I think most of them get married and like have good things happen. I don't really think it's fair that they expect perfection from you guys either, because like nobody would find the red pill if they didn't have relationship problems at some point. That's how you find the red pill. So all you can do is say, this is what happened before, this is what I'm doing now, and now I'm moving forward and it's better now. And this is what you guys can learn. Like, you guys aren't gods, you know?
Wait a minute. What are you talking about? We're fucking kings in this motherfucker.
Like,
no, you're absolutely right. I just, and before we go to Janelle, I think unrealistic expectations are, it's true on both sides. And here's how I'll put this. There are a lot of guys who say, unless she's a virgin, I'm not interested. Okay, well, it's going to be a long wait and almost impossible to find. And they know that. That's why the standard is way up here. That gives them an excuse to check out of the dating market instead of actually putting, because here's the thing. Men these days think that, oh, well, just women were just ready-made back in the 1940s and 1950s, and all we had to do was be there. No, you still had to be the masculine. You still had to meet that masculine burden of performance. You still had to meet the standard set forth by her father and her uncles and her brothers. You didn't just waltz in and just be any old kind of guy. Be like, hey, she's a 19-year-old virgin still living at home. Come with me. Nah, fam. Like, you still had to fucking bring it. So I think a lot of men these days think that just because you're a man, you're entitled. No. It doesn't work that way at all. On the other hand, women like to say, well, men expect 10s. They want a size 0, size 8.
No, they don't.
Of course they don't. But they use that as an excuse to continue fucking random guys. Well, the point is, yes, you're probably right.
That's why I stick out around here.
Pun definitely intended. But this is what incels and sluts have in common. Incels say, well, girls want perfection, so I'm just going to continue to whack off in my mom's basement, eat Cheetos, and play Call of Duty 18 hours a day. Girls say, well, men want perfection, so I'm just going to continue to fuck anything with a white chromosome and a smile. So, Janelle, what are your thoughts on men who have these unrealistic expectations? Again, I'll lay the question out for you again. A lot of guys like to say, Donovan's girlfriend is 45 years old. He's not an alpha. He should be with a woman half her age. What are your thoughts on men who think like that?
I got a few things. First of all, Devin is a 10. She just is. And that you got to think about a 10. Like, you got to think about it.
Wait. You said she's a who?
She's a 10, and let me tell you why. I know you guys aren't going to like this. You got to look at listen, I'm a holistic coach. So I look at the whole woman. I'm not just talking about age, but body and whether you got to look at her value. This is why I have a 25-year-old 6'8" basketball player boyfriend. I'm 40 and I have a child and I have a little bit of Louis Vuitton luggage, right? Like baggage, if you will. Devin's a 10. She adds massive freaking value to your life and to her life. She is cooperative. She's a team player. You guys are building an empire, a dynasty. She does all this stuff behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. She looks great. She never looks like, every time I've seen her, she's freaking a 10. And she's very fucking smart. And I'm sure emotionally, I don't know her, but if I spent time with her, she has an emotional balance of that's good too. Because you got to look at mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual. You got to look at all of it. 5 things. Okay. Now, so that's it. So yeah, you are a 10. And the other thing is, the high expectations that men have. I understand that, and I'm not going to say, oh, they shouldn't have that. Men like shiny objects. They're like, oh, what's the next shiny play toy? What's the biggest boobs in the back? That's just how men are. They're wired that way. You have 10 men that are focused on working. They're like on a multi-billion-dollar project. They're working. A woman walks by. One woman, she doesn't even have to be that hot. Every single man, whether they're married in love, is going to look and follow her. Yep. It's wired in his brain. So we can't fault men for that. But what we can do is start doing what a lot of women won't do. My man is a god. I call him a god. If you watch Fresh and Fit, I say he's Shiva. In the tantric Sanskrit perspective, Shiva is divine masculine energy. That's God. If more women treated their men like God, they would actually get more out of them. They would get more out of the man, meaning they get more appreciation. They get more, all that sort of thing, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. And this is why I framed the question like that. And this is why I specifically had Janelle for this. Because when we get to a certain age, yes, listen, you got to be attractive. If I don't want to fuck you, I'm not interested. You can be the world's greatest coder, cook, submissive. If I don't want to stick my dick in you, it's not going to work. Nothing personal. This is just what the testicles dictate. However, when you start focusing on things other than women, things outside of a woman's beauty become a factor. Listen, would Devin have higher sexual market value if she were 20 years younger? Of course she would. But a relationship market value, not so much. And a lot of guys will probably say, oh, you're just making an excuse. You're justifying your choices. Am I? This woman built my app. She built and runs the website. She runs my Patreon. She does literally everything off. Yeah, she does everything off camera. And then a lot of guys try to talk at both sides. Oh, well, Devin runs everything. No, Devin runs what I tell her to run.
Yeah, no thanks.
Correct.
Yes.
What are their girlfriends doing?
That's what I'm saying. Like, who are they dating? I want to know.
Let me, because I know very few women that like do that much for any guy, to be honest.
But it goes the other way too with age. Like the same thing with my guy. He's 25, and people are like, well, why are you with him? Or why is he with you? He could be with some hot 25-year-old, but it's like the things that I add to his life on a regular basis. Right. And he texted me the other day. He was like, thank you for teaching me about real health. Like, I'm like, I make sure I send him all his like organic supplements and food. I make his own sea moss for him so that he has it every day. I'm constantly like, that's just the health part of what I do.
Of course.
I'm constantly helping him. And if it's things I can do to help him invest in his business or like whatever I can do. And but like you said, Donovan, it's also sexual. It's sexual compatibility as well.
Yes, of course.
If I look a hot mess, he's not going to be with me. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's
I see exactly what you're saying. And this is why I framed the question to you. You said Devin's a 10. I'm like, no, she's not. But then you went and pointed out things other than her sexual attractiveness in terms of why you think she's a 10. And that's the point. Yeah. That's the point. Any man who says, 2 points here, and then we'll go to Devin for thoughts on this. Any man who talks shit about another man's girlfriend, I don't know. I've never understood that. So to answer Pearl's question, who are these guys dating? Chances are probably no one. Because if a man is in a solid relationship, even if he's in a shitty relationship, he doesn't have a need to talk about another man's woman, whatever. I don't care about that. But what you also have to understand is that when men the men who are the most sexually attracted to Dev, those are the men who talk the most shit about her. They'll see her picture and be like, she's an adjustable 3. Dude, nobody believes.
That's what I found on the internet too. Like the most hate comments I get are always from like guys who like respectfully really that like I wouldn't date.
I know
like,
it.
If you got a crush on me, just say that. Like, it's
yep. And
okay.
this is immaturity on the guy's part, because what did we used to do in the 4th grade when he had a crush on a girl? We used to pull her hair. We used to make fun of her. At some point, you have to grow up. But again, this is internet gangster stuff, so they don't really count.
Yeah.
So, Dev, let me come to you with this, because you are like, you're the standard. You really, really are, and you're the standard. Well, she's the standard because of me.
Everybody.
No, that's quite all right. You had skills before you came into this relationship, but then I sort of built you and customized you and cultivated you into what you are today. So, what are your thoughts on the men who say, well, Donovan should be spinning 20-year-old plates, and the fact that he's not means he's a fake alpha, he's a fraud?
You know how you say that women like 10s are useless because they don't have to be useful?
They've never had to be useful? Yep.
Yeah, well, I think women over 30 aren't useless because they have to be useful.
At some
point, you got to balance the equation here. So,
that's right.
The women who, and I was thinking this earlier, I was reading an article the other day that said that the average age for women to have children in the United States has risen to the age of 31.
Yep.
The average what?
The average age of women having their first child is now 31.
Jesus Christ, no wonder.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Back in 2018, 1 of 3 women over 30 did not have children. I think that number has gone up from 30%.
Wow.
In Britain right now, it's 50% of women over 30 don't have children.
Wow.
So now we're like, the dating pool is expanding as far as finding a single woman who's a little bit more mature, maybe more useful, but doesn't have the extra baggage of kids is, and now like half of people just say that they don't even want to have kids.
Yeah.
So the family part of this dating and sexual market value, relationship market value is diminishing. A lot of guys don't want to have kids, don't want to date girls who have kids. A lot of women don't want kids either. So at this point, now the sexual market value at over 30 is less about looks and more about utility.
Yeah, not only that is that, but there's a cost to that, right?
Is.
Dating an older woman means you probably aren't going to have kids. And I'm the type of guy, I don't want kids. So this was a good partnership. Janelle, somebody had something.
That's not true though. And I'm going to comment on this. I just can't type that fast on the phone, but that 31 is not, I know you're saying 31 maybe in SMV is that old, but it's not that old. If you don't put a bunch of shit and GMOs and meat and stuff in your body.
There we go. Yes, sir.
I had my first son. I had my first child, or my only child so far, 7 years ago. You're
the exception. You're one of the exceptions to the rule, because like women who are watching this, young women not every woman is going to end up like Janelle. Not every woman is going to end up like Dev. So I think we have to be really careful.
That is true. There are exceptions. And the thing, even they're talking about, I have more energy than my 25-year-old guy. Like he literally is like, I run circles around him, but that's because I do things, put stuff in my body and do practices that keep my energy freaking high all the time. Yes. And so when you talk, and then around here, Devin, that's a great article, and I would love to see that. Please send that to me. The average age for women having kids is in their 40s here. You know why? Because
what?
Well, yeah, because there's like, it's money. There's so much money here. These women are getting married to these, and maybe not their first, but they're having second and third kids because they're getting married to older guys with. You have to understand, Kobe and his wife live like 15 minutes from here, 10-15 minutes from here.
Yeah, Vanessa. Yeah.
Newport Coast. Have you been there? Like that area is one of the nicest areas I've been in anywhere. And so there's just so much money around here. And so, yeah, if I got married right now, I would just go get sperm banked, go to the in vitro clinic and just have another kid. It's not like that hard, but that's not the normalcy either. I understand that.
Should not be.
That's not normal.
Pearl, what did you have on this? And then we'll go back to Dev.
Isn't that expensive?
It is. Well, that's why I said it's not normal. There's so much money around here.
Right. Because when we talk about
Yeah.
like sexual dynamics, I think we're talking about like more like as a society. Yeah.
Hang on, Pearl. Let me stop you right there. Official Contras, I need you to be a little bit more respectful. Okay. You can disagree, but let's not call people liars and things like that. Let's be respectful to the panelists. All right, go ahead, Pearl.
No, I was just saying that I think that's more of the exception rather than the rule.
Okay.
Because like I think when we talk about intersexual dynamics, we're more talking about like society as a whole, and like most people don't have the money to afford that.
Oh, of course. Right. Yeah. And dude, listen, Janelle lives in Newport Beach, California. I mean, dude, there's more money there than
is that like nice?
Beautiful. Wealthiest economy in the world. OC.
Yeah, Beach, baby. Yeah, like, dude, you got like teenage girls getting boob jobs out there as a matter of habit. Let's go back to Deb. So finish your thought on this whole.
I had a comment about, you said that a single mother can't serve two gods.
That's correct.
What does a married mother do?
She has to serve two gods.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it can be possible. Okay. I think that single mothers don't seem to put their kids first because they're finally free. So a lot of them are just acting out where, I think that the reason why they're single mothers is that they never put their man first.
Well, I'll tell you this.
So now they're like, why did it put me first? I never got to put myself first. And now like they don't know how to balance the equation.
They will figure it out if they like the guy enough.
Yes.
If they like the guy enough, they'll figure it out. And single mothers use their kids as a buffer. Well, my kid comes first. Translation, I don't really like you enough to put you first. What are your thoughts on that, Janelle?
Rephrase that again, Donovan. I'm sorry. I was reading a comment.
No, that's okay. Single mothers often use their kids as a buffer, right? And we'll go to Tallulah after this. She has a comment on this, but they'll usually say, my kids come first. Translation, I don't really like you enough to put you before my kid.
That's just an excuse, and people listen to this. This is knowledge. I'm going to drop some, like, everyone.
Here we go.
Get your pad out, or if you're texting on your notes in your phone. This is knowledge right here. I'm dropping game. People do what they want to do.
Yes.
Period.
All right.
Period. Listen, you can't listen, I could have made up all the excuses in the world to not be available for my son or for my guy. He lives very far away, as we've talked about. I have a child. I run a business. I have a nonprofit. I could say every excuse in the world, but you know what? I hired a sitter. Sitter sometimes costing me $300 to watch from the time I left my house to the time I came back the next morning. $300, and then I'm still driving an hour and some change and cooking dinner and stuff. If you like the guy and you really want to serve him and his needs, you'll make it work. There won't be an excuse. So it's just
exactly
women just use that to try and say like, oh, you can and most people have family around, so it's good for your kids to start some independence and not to always be around you, and to get input and insight from others, so they're more culturally alive. And so when a single mom says, oh, I have kids, I can't do this, or I can't, it's all BS.
She didn't want to do it. Hold on. Tallulah, what are your you said you had something on this.
Yeah, I think a bit what Devon said, like it depends if that woman has real, and you said it as well, real genuine desire for the man that she's with. And that's how he will be put at the same level, or if not first, towards the kids. Like, for example, when I was young, my mum was continuously serving my dad. And she made it clear to me and my brother that like he was head of the household. Like me and my brother were really good kids, but there was one time that we were mucking around. I don't know what we were doing. It's something like minimal. And she said, she picked up the phone. And back then you had like a landline phone. And she picked up the phone. She goes, right, I'm ringing your dad. And we were like, what? Like, okay. She was like, no, I'm not joking. She started like pretending to dial the number. To basically, it set the tone. He is the head of the household. We need to, we need this man. you know, and you can't muck around when he's here. So I think it's really important about like the whole family dynamic as well as the woman being aware of how important the man is in her life and important his father is.
Right.
And his role in the household. But in England here, like recently, I've just seen so many guys just being like dragged around the supermarket, and like she's, you know, bossing the whole thing around. My dad was not in the supermarket. My dad was at work.
Right.
My dad was at work, and mum was with us in the supermarket, or mum was there when we were at school before she picked us up. But you see him being dragged around, and you think, this isn't a family outing. I can understand if it's Disney World, do it as a family, great.
Right.
But he's not meant to be in the supermarket being bossed around, dragged around, like it's awful. And they look so unhappy.
Yes, don't they?
Just, you know, you need to be that space. There's space that needs to be done. Like he can still be an absolutely amazing father to those children, even if he's not with you 24/7, getting around. And if your children see, and God forbid, if you have a daughter and she sees mum bossing dad around. Oh yeah. Like
no, totally agree. Pearl, did you have something?
No, I was just thinking about what she said. I think like that's something my mom always did very well. Like my dad was gone a lot growing up because he worked. And there was like a period when I was a teenager, and you're just kind of like a mad teenager, you know. I'm like, where's my dad been? You know, because he was building an empire. And I remember one time I was like complaining to my mom about my dad, and she literally stopped the car and she like looked at me and she was like, okay, your dad does this for you. She's like, for 10 minutes, just listed every single thing my dad did for me. She's like, he grabs your cars, he pulls the car up every time, he starts your car, and he does this, and I was humbled so fast. I was like, and now I was like, damn, I didn't even notice. And yeah, and now I have like a great relationship with him, to be honest. Like I'm so close with my dad. But I think that's part of like an understanding, is like knowing everything like my dad did was for us. It was like for us in the future. And that's kind of a hard concept to grasp when you're a kid, to be honest.
No, totally understand. And good for your mom for doing that, because now at 25 years old, you have a healthy respect for men. A lot of single moms like to shit on the baby daddy. Oh, your dad is never around and this and that. And even though you're a single mom, the dad's not around, there are outside reasons for that. Listen, there are some ain't shit niggas out here who like putting babies in ditches and bouncing out. But then again, there are always three sides to every story. There's his side, her side, and the truth.
And who picked them?
There you go.
Correct.
Well, there you go.
Correct.
Yeah. The patriarchy, Pearl, is the patriarchy.
I think that straight.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Read that
real
first.
quick. You're even with the $6 super. This is a big thank you to the panel. This content is greatly needed and appreciated. Go ahead, Janelle.
I'm trying to figure out how you reply back to people on here, so maybe Ali, you can show me later. But like Straight Facts 88, he's saying these women could work and take care of kids in the house if they didn't drink a bottle of wine the night before. And he's also said he was a vegan, and that it really helped him have a lot of energy. But that's a huge thing. I think that single moms, you know, I remember they used to all tell me the same thing. Here's the problem: single moms hang with other single moms, and it's not a good look. Because what happens is these women get together, they talk about all their exes and he's bad and this, and I have to do all this, and then they would always ask me, "Do you drink wine?" I said, "No, I don't drink." They're like, "Girl, you've got to have wine at the end of the night." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't," you know. And so it is a habit, and it's almost like expected. Like you're a single mom, you work all day and you took care of kids, and now you got to go home and down a bottle of wine. But like you said, like how are you going to be, you know, how are you able to be there for a guy if you're just drunk, you know, if you literally just passed out from drinking and then you get up and do it the next morning. So I think this is a huge thing. And I saw it with a lot of single moms. It's a trend, you know, you drink, you pass out, and you get up and then you do it again.
Yeah. Rinse and repeat. Tallulah, you had something on this?
I just spoke, unless it was something else. What was the question?
I was late. My bad.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Let's so Devin has something she wants to read, and then I've got two more questions, and we'll start with Tallulah on that question, because I think this will be a very good conversation. Oh yeah, let me unmute Devin first. Okay, so Deb, what you got? You have something to read here.
Yeah, I was thinking, okay. Well, on the topic of divorcees that actually want to improve themselves, knowing that there was aspects of the relationship that failed that was because of their fault and how to avoid it.
Right.
And this came to my mind because I've been reading this book, Surrendered Wife. I just keep it around and I just like read it randomly.
Okay.
And I I mark pages of things that I'd like to share. And so this is real quick. This is basically 7 shrewish habits.
Ooh.
Okay. So one of them was talking on my husband's behalf and making decisions for him. I told myself it was a good thing I did and that he would be a mess. Sometimes I would resist uttering criticisms, but number 2, give my husband a disapproving look. When I tried to stop giving him the look, I started, number 3, asking questions that seemed innocent enough but clearly conveyed my disapproval. Like, you're going to wear that? So I would then 4, try to explain to my husband what I would do if I were in his situation, hoping that he would do what I thought he should. I've made, number 5, countless unsolicited suggestions. Number 6, gasped in the car while he was driving. Number 7, frowned at the lettuce he bought, all in a desperate, futile attempt to modify his actions. So one thing I've learned is that men, you can wear them down just by doing these 7 innocent enough, I'm just trying to help.
Yeah, that's called being henpecked.
That are just grinding down his masculinity, his self-worth, and just basically bring him down to the point where he just doesn't want to fight you anymore. He's just like, you know what? Sure, honey, whatever you say. And then it just grinds down on the intimacy and the love of a marriage. All of these things that she mentioned are you trying to help, but you basically saying, I don't trust you. I don't trust you to make the right decision. I disagree with you. Hey, you know what? Don't say anything at all. Just be like, yep, I totally agree with you. See where it goes. Because what's the worst that can happen? I mean, you two either have like a funny story to talk about, or you recover, you get through it and be like, oops, not going to do that again. You know, like nothing is going to explode if you don't correct your husband, especially. And this is something I really had to learn.
I was just going to
to learn, especially in the car
when we travel.
Darwin, when we travel. Yes, there were just these little things like, does my opinion really need to come out? No, I could think, I could shut my mouth, and I can have a very harmonious trip, or I can just spit out whatever's on my mind and end up going home alone.
Yo, check this out, man. This is actually something that you struggled with for a while.
Yeah.
Because Devin gets anxious when we travel, right? For whatever reason, she just gets anxious when we travel.
I get anxious going to places I've never been before.
Okay, so there's a little bit of anxiety. And so what she would try to do is she would be all neurotic. We should be going this way, and our gate is that way. And dude, I never let it slip and be like, yo, shut the fuck up. Like, I've done this 100 times. If you want to keep this shit up, then you can take another fucking plane. Then finally, I think the very last time you did that was when we flew from here to Phoenix. We were going to clean out my Airbnb before we flew to Vegas to do the CME. And Devin started it one more time. She's like, "Are you sure we're going the right?" I was like, "Yo, you need, dude." I straight up told her, I said, "Dev, stop this shit." I was like, honestly, I'm going to put you on a plane back to fucking Philly if you don't stop. And that's when Devin finally just had to come to her senses. And I had to explain it to her. Yo, check this out. If we go to the wrong gate, no one's going to die. Like, I've done this 100 times. You just need to chill the fuck out. Who else had something?
I have a story like that, but the opposite way.
Okay,
and it's where I totally bit my tongue. And it just because I didn't want that dynamic, but it's a little tricky when, okay, so my guy's 25, he hasn't really traveled at all. And I've been to almost 30 countries or whatever, you know.
Yeah, right.
So very well traveled. I'm a global entry, I got it all. So we were going to Miami, right? And very early from LAX. And I said we were kind of late because he overslept. So we were kind of late and we had to get bags checked and get through security, right?
So your guy overslept.
Well, we had sex all night and then he couldn't wake up. And so we were
fine. So did you ever oversleep?
It was my fault. It's my fault.
So all good. Put it on him. It is what it is.
We're trying to get there and he goes, okay, why don't you go up to the front and with our bags, and I'll get us checked in, right? And so he was like trying to check in on the kiosk, and I was like in line because you know how you have to get the tags, then you go up and they take your bags, right? So he was doing an online check-in. I was a little nervous because I'm like, I don't know if he realizes we have to pay for the bags and then they tag. But Donovan, I didn't say anything. I'm like, I just want to let him be the man. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let him do it, right? So all he had to do was check in, get our tags, and I was in line with the bag. So he would have ran up, give us, and then do you understand, right? Okay. So he comes up, we get to the thing, and she goes, you don't have tags for these, and it's too late. I can't check them now.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, shoot, like, what do we do? He's like, let's just go through. He doesn't understand because the bag wasn't that big, but it was bigger than the check size, right? I was like, honey, they're not going to let us take it. He goes, let's just try it. I'm like, okay.
All right.
You know, I'm letting him do it. So we get up there and she goes, you can't take it. You're going to have to go get on the next flight. So we missed our flight.
Okay.
But what happened was I let him sort of take the lead, and he saw that it was like, okay, so we missed our flight. We 3 hours in the airport. He slept. I got him breakfast, and it was fine in the end. But it was me deciding I'm going to give up control, even though I know this isn't going to end well, and I'm going to let him be the masculine. And
there you go.
It's just, it sucked. But
and like Ken Jeong's character in The Hangover said, did you die? Right? Did you die? All right, Allie, go ahead.
Oh man, it's so many things to pick apart. Okay,
here we go.
The first thing I'll say is that I was a nightmare red pill wife. The red pill exists because of women like me. I'm so serious. So I got married when I was 20. Shout out to him. If you ever see this, hit me up. We could discuss some legal things. Moving on. So I had to go from managing my entire household to being with a masculine man, and there were some hiccups along the way, just on my part of trying to overly control things, which my fiance, what he did to kind of help break me out of that is every time I explain something, he just looks at me and he says, stupid people, Allie. You're used to working with stupid people. And it's true. It's true because typically I am the smartest person in the room. So I'm always like planning and things like that. But he's right on par with me intellectually. And also, it's not the end of the world if a man fails. My man has made a mistake a time or two, but he always regroups and restructures and leads us better afterward. I think women, well, myself as well, it's hard when a man can't pull something off perfectly because in our minds we're like, but I trusted you and it didn't turn out exactly how I thought it would. And it's, of course not. He's a human being. But on talking about divorce and self-work, one of the things that woke me up to me being probably a horrible wife was The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands. It's a book by Dr. Laura Schlesinger, and she basically breaks down how men suffer silently in marriage, because I had heard rumors, but then I started talking to men one-on-one, my peers, when I was in the military, and they were coming out of the woodwork saying everything. Basically, a lot of them were henpecked husbands, not even leading their households, but then we're supposed to trust you in combat. I digress. Moving on. If you guys want, if you want tips on how, if you think that a divorced woman, a divorcee, is worth the gamble, right? And you want to make extra sure that it can turn out okay for you. Number one, you can require couples counseling, because if she wanted to, she would, right? And the other thing that you can do is you can have a prenup. And women get caught up on the prenup piece because it's not talked about enough on how it advocates for women. Like my prenup on my side, because he trusts me and cares about me, doesn't want to leave me out on the street should we not work out, you know, if like, I don't know, the unpredictable, unexpected occurs, right? And that's the thing. Just marry a guy who's going to value you, and you can ask for certain things. This is what I want after 1 year. If it doesn't work out, 5 years, 10 years.
There you go.
And he'll do it. If he thinks that you're worth it, he's going to do it. People overcomplicate things. Just date good people. It's easy.
Oh, yeah, of course, because there's just good people everywhere. Couple of super chats, and then we'll get into the next question, because I think this will be a good one. Technomage B5 says, my wife explained to my younger son when he was 4 that money didn't just magically come from the bank. Dad works, earns the money, which is put in the bank for us. Also explained why I was gone so much. Good. Yeah. And that was talking about Pearl's mom stopping the car and being like, hey, don't talk shit about your dad. He makes these sacrifices for you. Official Contrast, $10 says, all the chat that's watching, I love you guys. Give them hell yeah. The real failure ultimately is women in this age believe there is, quote, always something better, and she can bring her kids over to overshare them. Yeah, this is what Allie teaches. Hey, listen, I'm all for hypergamy, but you have to understand, take the deal. Before I ask this question, what branch were you in, Allie?
I was in the United States Army. I was a combat medic specialist. So these fools tried to convince me that I could rescue a 6-foot man in armor who's been shot. Pass. They're lying.
Definitely not going to happen. Bill Cosby, another $10 super chat. I love this Cosby guy. What younger men look for, and what I found attracted me to older women, is maturity and independence, blowjobs, and apple pies.
This is true. I actually made him pies, apple pies, and sweet potato pies, and he gets lots of BJs. That's exactly what he loves.
Dude, I'm just telling you, man. Listen, steak and blowjob day is every day here at the Sharp family compound. Dr. B84 says Bill Cosby is everywhere. Okay, so let's start with Cholula on this one. This is a very simple question. Why is it that men don't consider a woman's relationship market value when talking about their sexual market value? Because men tend to think that the higher a woman's sexual market value is, the better a mate she's going to be. Talk about why that isn't necessarily the right mindset.
It's very much like what I commented before, really, is that, for example, you might have a girl who's 22 years old, absolutely beautiful, stunning, but she's not going to put you as the first thing in her life.
Right.
He's just going to put you as like, oh, he's great for now, or yeah, he's my boyfriend. You won't have like a high status in her life at all. Because she has lots of time on her hands. She probably has lots of men messaging her. She's not going to understand, like right now, her sexual market value is blossoming, and she's being told that every single day by everyone. And also, with the media and things, I know I always knock them, but they're always, promoting everything on television here is of 22-year-olds. It's not of older women. So that would probably be where they would slip up there. And they're not looking at, other things, like, for example, what I do for my partner, what all the girls on here do for their partners, is we're always trying to be one step ahead with making sure that he's cared for, making sure that he's sorted out. I know that, like, Devon has genuine desire for you, as do I for my man, and all I care about is being in his world and his frame. Like, it would scare me to, like, I was having this conversation the other day with a friend, like, it would scare me if, we're currently like not living together. I actually still live in the family home, but unfortunately my parents aren't here, but I am back in the family home. Sure. I think that it would scare me if, like, he was like, oh, okay, we're going to move to this country because of my work. That would frighten me, but I'm not going to start stomping my feet and saying no, because I just want to be with him. And I just want to, have an end to what he's doing in his world and trust him on that journey. So, yeah, I think that, the 22-year-old isn't going to do that. They're just not. They're not going to do that. They're not going to be helping you out with your business. They're probably just going to speak back to you. Everyone's going to be enforcing how great they are right now. But before they know it, is actually, they do get older. And that's when they'll realize, actually, I need to be striving to be the best. It is about competition. It really is.
Okay, very good. Janelle, why do younger men only put stock in a woman's sexual market value in terms of relationships?
Okay, why do younger men only put stock in?
So basically, younger men, like, I'll actually put this right here. So D's Nuts says older women are only good for older men with established families or younger men looking for superficial things. Here we go.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, so do I. I think, listen, respectfully, he can have his opinion. So why do you disagree?
Respectfully. I think, listen, like, there's nothing that I do for my guy that he can't do for himself. I mean, we even had this conversation. He's like, anything you get me, I can basically get myself. He said, well, maybe the trip to Mexico, because it was like insane. It was like really like 5-star all the way. He's like, maybe that one, not so much, but it was like everything else. So, but he said, like, you know, you buy me Yeezys, I have 5 pairs of Yeezys. Like, it's not like, do you know what I'm saying? It's not like all of a sudden, now, am I bringing things into his life value that he's never experienced before? Yes. He's going to travel the world with me this year on my retreats. I'm going to take him to Turkey, Greece. But he's helping me. He's working in the retreat. So it's not like he's just posted up or like whatever. Do you know what I mean? He's adding value to my life. I'm adding value to his life. And I think that there is a certain lure that younger men do have, because like someone was saying that women are more mature. And he also said that I was very nurturing. And that's something he didn't really have a lot of growing up. So I think it's not necessarily true. I'm bringing the yoni steaming. I am.
I was going to say, you bringing the yoni steamer on the transfer with you?
And I'm really like, I'm actually open-minded. So I think that that's a huge thing that, of course, I'm like the next woman. I have insecurities too. But the thing is, like, I know that there's like a ton of young women around him. Obviously, he works he's a barber and he works in a salon that's all women.
Sure.
It's like only guy, him and his partner. But he goes, he's like, we're the only 2 guys. And he goes, and my partner is like, you know, a shorter, older guy who's married. So it's like, I'm the 6'8", I'm the only guy that's available. Right. So I get all that. But at the same time, it's more than that. It's, if he wanted just to, you know, screw around, he could just screw around. That's easy. He's with me because I'm obviously adding value to his life, and he does, you know, add value to mine, and he invests time in my son. So if it was just a fling, then why is like all these things that he's doing to add value to my life too? So I think you have to take it by my case by case basis, but there's also outliers, like you said, like myself and Devin, and he's not your average 25-year-old. Your average 25-year-old is out in the clubs. He's not doing that, you know? So it's just, you got to take those things into consideration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Allie, what are your thoughts? Why does it appear that younger men in this community only consider the way a woman looks? Because it's funny, like a lot of these guys talk out of both sides of their mouth. Women are useless and they're good for nothing but sex. But then they say, well, you know, if she's an older woman, she's not good for anything. Why is it right? Why is it that younger men in this community, and listen, there are some, you know, I don't want to even say this, not younger men who are new to the community, only look at a woman's sexual market value as a referendum on her overall value. We'll go to Pearl after this.
Honestly, they're just young. They're young. They haven't lived enough life. The fact that I am this articulate and this wise at my age kind of just speaks to the things that I've gone through. But if you're a young man, the first thing you're looking at when it comes to women is what they look like. Are you sexually attracted to them? Do you want to be with them? So I think that is part of it's a bit of a, we'll call it a male delusion, because there's female delusion as well. And then if they're new to the community, they're just going to be in denial, because that red pill rage, it takes time, and healing is not linear. It could take 1 or 2 years for them to get over the wrongs that have been committed against them by women. It could take them a lifetime. They may never get over it. So I think that's part of it. But I wanted to sort of shift a little bit to somebody in the comment section talking about a nice guy. And I think where people get caught up with masculinity is femininity. And femininity is that they don't understand that masculinity and femininity are found in subtleties. When I think nice, I don't think of that being a male archetype. I think of that being a woman's archetype, for her to be feminine and altruistic. But if you want to talk about what a nice guy would be, if you want to frame it in a more mature male setting, what that would be is actually him being an honorable man, knowing when it's worthwhile to do good things, knowing when to strike down men who are misusing their power, and just knowing how to care for the community through that protection and that provisioning. But that's all I got.
That's interesting. Thanks, Allie. What I was wondering is, do you think that women find the red pill because they're trying to self-improve? Or you know how like men find the red pill because of heartache and heartbreak? But a lot of times, that's how I found the red pill too. What?
Mm-hmm.
Put up that sign again, Janelle. This is funny.
I just wanted to
I am only good for pie and the BJs because I'm 40. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Go ahead. Okay.
T-shirt.
All right. Yeah. Listen. Pie and blowjobs. let me so we have some catching up to do. So Allie just went. Let's go to Pearl. Why do you think that men who are new to this community talk out of both sides of their mouths in terms of a woman's sexual market value, right? Because unless she's and it's funny, and I think you can probably speak to this. A lot of men say, "Oh, Pearl is a 5," or they say Devin's an adjustable 4, or Allie's an adjustable 3. I think they're comparing women to Instagram models whose photos are photoshopped and all that. Why do men new to this community only put stock in a woman's looks?
Well, again, you have to find the red pill because you're having some sort of relationship problem, right? Because otherwise, how would you find the content?
Yes, right.
And what's one way that you have relationship problems? By only valuing people by their looks on both ends, like men and women.
Okay.
So I would guess that maybe they've been screwed over by someone in the past. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing they value, right? That's the thing they valued when they did that.
Yeah.
It was their looks.
Okay.
Not her character.
Allie says she found the red pill through female bullying. Facts.
I think someone
treacherous
sent
out
me
here.
Someone sent me Kevin Samuels to react to. That was how I found it. I did not like it at first.
No, you did not. You actually called into Kevin. What you got? Oh, hold on. Why? We'll figure it out. Okay, so last question. And we'll start with Dev. So let's say your best friend she's 38, right?
Okay.
And she is newly divorced. She has a kid, but the kid is probably 16, 17 years old. What would be your advice in terms of competing with younger, more attractive women? Because Allie has talked about this before. There are older women out here, older single moms who are out here out competing younger childless women. So how would it listen? I'm not saying this would be easy, but it is possible. So what would be your advice to your friend?
Well, okay. So does she have full custody of this child, or does she have shared parental?
Let's say she has a 50-50. Let's say
if
1
she's
week on, 1 week
50-50,
off.
then she's not a single mom.
Oh,
That's right.
She's co-parenting.
Okay. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. That makes sense because you're not a single parent at that point.
No,
okay.
you're definitely not. You're no more single than a single parent than if you were still married. So
They're just living in separate houses.
yeah, and
Okay,
honestly, like you're probably, well, I would say you're probably doing a lot less time parenting. So yeah, you're definitely not a single mom. Then. So first of all, I would establish that classification for this friend, because she can't put herself in a box and advertise herself as that if that's not necessarily what's true, in order to expand her dating pool. So if her kid's going to be 2 years out of the house, I would consider the kid at this point a non-factor. The second point of 38 is like, okay, in order to establish your best chances, you need to decide right now, are you looking to have more children? Yes or no? If you're not, and you're done, do something to make sure that prospect is eliminated, because once that prospect is eliminated, you're automatically opening up your dating pool further, because by the time you're going to meet somebody who's probably between 40 and 50, definitely most likely doesn't want to have children. Otherwise you wouldn't be dating 30 to 40 year olds.
Right.
So, but no one wants to take that chance either. So go ahead, tie your tubes, get an IUD, do something, make sure that the pregnancy is off the table and that you're not worried about that. So boom. So all of a sudden there's no more accidents. The last thing you want is an accident at 40 years old.
What about aesthetically speaking? How do you compete with women half your age?
Aesthetically speaking, you want to be feminine, but you want to be put together, but you don't want to be over the top high maintenance either. So use your natural beauty as much as you can, but also take advantage of the things that are available to you that you can afford. Botox is not that expensive, and it can smooth out your face. It's not super invasive, and it takes 5 minutes to do. Not that I would know anything about that.
Oh no.
but there's a lot of like staying in shape, staying fit.
There we go.
Understanding how to build, understanding nutrition is huge, especially as you get older, because it's one thing to know how to cook. A lot of people can cook crappy food that's terrible for you. But understanding how to use ingredients that are going to like enrich your macros and then like be really good for your body. This is something I'm also getting more into over the last 2 years. I've learned a lot about nutrition, but even this is still an ongoing thing. So there's always room for improvement. So, if something like as simple as like using like a coconut oil and ghee, like cooking spray instead of like a canola oil spray or something like that, those little types of things become attractive to men who pay attention to their bodies and how they feel. So not only having a woman who knows how to cook is good, but knowing how to cook healthy, clean food, I think is also very, very attractive. That being able to manage a household, even if you're single, your house is clean, your bills are paid on time, you're not in super huge debt. All of a sudden, your value, your utility goes up because you don't come with all this extra baggage. Then, if you have a life skill that can be useful to someone who, like, for example, if you're an accountant and you can do bookkeeping, you can move that type of skill over to his business. If you're a nurse or healthcare worker or something like that, and you start dating someone who's also in the same field, you guys can branch out together to start to,
another practice.
How they say, hang your own shingle or your sign or whatever. So there's lots of things that you can do to improve your value. But I think most importantly, it's coming from being agreeable, being kind, being a nurturing person, and understanding that everybody has different expectations.
Well, hold on. Young, attractive women can also be kind and agreeable.
Most young, attractive women don't need to be kind and agreeable. If you look at that, you're going to find a lot of self-centered women who don't date with intention. They just date for, and they don't with intention. They date for attention. So do you get what I'm saying?
I understand.
Yeah, so
listen, let me go ahead and stop you right there. All very good suggestions. But it begins and ends with the way you look. Like Allie said, there are single moms out here who are out competing their younger childless competition. And the reason for that is because they look fantastic. Listen, don't get me wrong. There are other things that you can do, but it begins and ends with the way you look. Most women are overweight, guys. I don't know that we noticed this, but most women are overweight. This includes women in their 20s. So if you're going to outcompete women half your age, you need to look twice as good. Pearl, I'm sorry.
Well, that's how my sister got remarried. So she got divorced in her 30s and she had 2 kids, and she got remarried to a guy that makes 6 figures, like 6 something, like really good guy.
How'd she do it?
She was 120 pounds.
There it is. There it is. There it is, man. Any other suggestions for older women out there?
What did she do? She was very intentional with him. She said, look, I liked being married. I want to be remarried. This is the time frame I'd like to be remarried in. And if a guy wasn't looking for that, she was very quick to like cut it off.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to Janelle. Now, Janelle, you are 40. You're a single mom, but you managed to lock down a 25-year-old whose value is increasing. So what is your advice to women your age? How are you out competing the bitches who are half your age who are shooting their shot at him all the time?
Well, the number one thing is I worship the ground he walks on, and I do call him God, and I treat him like God.
There it is. There it is.
And I literally bow down to him. Like I've done it in my house and I've done it at the retreat. And it's a practice that a lot of women, they don't like it, but it works.
You had me in your phone. Devin actually had me in her phone as King Alex at one point in time.
Oh, absolutely. He's in my phone as Shiva King Zay, something like.
Well, now Devin has me in the phone as this nigga.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how it is in 7 years, but we're still in a year or so. But
peace out, Dr. B84. Appreciate that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. But I'm going to go with what Devin said. I think the first thing you have to do is work on cultivating your feminine energy. And that's a practice. I hold masterminds and I teach women how to do it over 8 weeks with everything from what kind of foods to put in your body to be more orgasmic and to keep lubrication up, because it's eating for orgasms and you have to do that. Once you cross that 30, you got to do it. And also, how to know your own body. I think it's really important. Women don't know their yoni. They don't know their uterus. They don't understand how it works. And a lot of times they don't even understand how a man body works inside of theirs. So there's the problem. So teaching yourself how to be feminine, teaching yourself how to fully surrender and serve and worship your king, your God, and how to eat appropriately, like Devin was saying, but not just eat for health, eat for orgasms, eat for lubrication, eat for longevity, all those things. And then the last thing I would say is biohacking. Biohacking is huge. I'm obsessed with it. I have a Beamer mat. It's, $8,000 machine. I have an infrared sauna. I have an ozone sauna.
Oh, she's got the infrared.
Yeah, come on out to my spa.
Oh my God.
I use red light therapy. I go sit in red light beds. They're like 140 a session, but red light it builds the mitochondria. It turns over cells quicker.
Yes.
So all these things, ice baths, cryo saunas, working out, all this stuff is good. Stem cells, and I know like HGH, all that stuff. Biohacking is the key to the future. Look at the greatest billionaires in the world, like Tony Robbins, and
they all look fantastic.
They all look great. His wife Sage, who, let's just be honest, she's Caucasian, and I'm not being disrespectful here, but
she's a white girl.
Caucasian women don't age as well as women that have a little melanin in them. It's just true. I'm not being racist. I'm just saying facts, right?
You got the melanin.
So if you have the melanin, you got a little bit of, you got a little bit of stuff on your side. But if you don't, you got to work extra hard at that. And so you do have to keep your looks up, because it has to be sexual attraction is the number one thing. But you have to do the other stuff too. You've got to be willing to give up the yoni every day. And you got to also be able to initiate sex. And women aren't doing that enough. And I feel like, I do every time in our relationship. So,
hey man, don't be ashamed. Hey, don't be ashamed. You want to be.
My guys, 12-hour days. I'm like, I got to initiate it. But yeah, so those are my main things. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Real quick before we continue, Big Wute Samaj is back in the house, man. The prodigal son returns. I think I've met Big Wute twice, like 2 or 3 times. It is very, very good to see you in here. He says, yes, back from deployment from the Middle East, Satman. Abso-fucking-lutely. Very, very good. Devin in the chat says the trick to dating over 30, hack his sexual organs.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Very good. Allie, what would you suggest? Let's say your best friend was in her late 30s. Allie, how do I outcompete the bitches who look like you? Because you look great, you're young, you have the guy that I want. What can I do? Like how can I outwork these young girls out here?
Honestly, just read something. When I think about the amount of marriages that fail, or women who essentially wreck their homes, because home wreckers are also the wife, not just the mistress. I think about how many families.
Oh, wow.
It's true.
Is also the wife. Love it. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, how many women, the tingles go away. They're like, oh, I just think there's something better out there for me. Like, honey, ain't nothing out here for you. It's a 50-50 shot. The dude is obese. Stay with your man. Right. Anyway, so just read something, read a book, because we have science and data now that kind of decodes love. That's how I was able to essentially get engaged a year after my divorce, right? And I don't feel bad. Hypergamy is fine. I don't feel bad about doing it as quick as I could, because I have eggs and I'd like to have a family and do right by this man. But when I say reading these books, read The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands is one that I like. The other one would be The 7 Principles of Making Marriage Work. That is by Dr. John Gottman, who can predict divorce with a 91% accuracy. It's not a joke. It's not a game. It's real. And The Anatomy of Love, if you are super nerdy and want to know why we marry each other, why we stray, and why we get back together. The other thing that I would say to a woman who is older and divorced is to not be afraid to approach men. Because the number one thing I hear from men is that a hello is enough, because most women don't want to go up to them and they get concerned. They're like, well, what if he rejects me? Girl, it's a numbers game. If he rejects you, you move on. Keep it moving. If you want to do online dating, create yourself a little form message. And this is for the women that are a little bit socially shy. But if you're pursuing this online format, message 5 men the same message every day, just to get yourself used to the rejection. Once you do it enough times, you'll be good. You'll be fine. And if you're going to date in person, go to the nicest restaurants in town. Go to the bar inside those restaurants. Do not go to a bar. Go to a restaurant bar. Go by yourself. Get a cocktail or a mocktail. And then if you see a guy who's single by himself without a ring, go on ahead over there.
Talk to him.
You know, that's all you got to do.
Or you shoot him IOIs. You make eye contact with him for 2 to 3 seconds. Tallulah, I think did we come to you first with this question? Because I think I might have lost track. No, I have not, have I?
You went to Devin, yeah.
I went
It's
to
definitely
Devin first.
Tallulah's turn.
Okay,
Yes.
Tallulah, your best friend, your hypothetical best friend. Let's say her name is Pippa. I think that's a typical English name, isn't it?
Don't ask me.
It is, yeah.
It's Pippa. Yeah. See, I'm cultured. So Pippa's 39 years old. She's like, okay, Tallulah, you got this high value guy. He could clearly have a woman much younger. What do you do that separated you from his younger options?
Well, the competition's still on.
Yes, there it is. There you go.
Just like, I still have to like be on top of my game. That's the first thing, right? You have to understand that you are constantly competing. Even if he is committed to you, it still doesn't count. I just like, I don't know. I think just because I just love him so much that it just comes through with the way I'm behaving with him. I like making sure that he has an easy life, and any way that I can make that easier for him, then I do it. It's like it's the little things and the big things, which I've always said. And it's definitely, you know, if I don't sort of agree with something or I'm a little bit worried about something, I do try and like not say anything, because it's just not very good. And I just try and let it go, let it pass. Which is easier said than done. But no, just like, you know, I like to make sure that he is cared for, he is fed. He goes away a lot, right? All the time.
Okay.
So, for example, I know you can have like boarding passes and things on your phones and stuff these days. You know, it's little things like, you know, calling the hotel, which I know he's staying at, making sure a boarding pass is printed off, put underneath his door, you know, really, really being his like assistant in every single way. Like, I know you were saying like Devon was sending you foods from like other states and things.
Oh my God.
That's another.
Yeah, she cheated. She cheated.
You have got to be like doing these things, and it's not, when you have genuine desire and you love someone so much, it's not a chore. You get high off it. I get high off of doing it. I like it. It's like my purpose in life is serving him. It really is, and I like it, and I'm happy with it, and I people say to me like all the time, like I've had friends in the past say, well, what do you get? And I'm like, I get him. That's nothing.
Wow. As usual, Tallulah's face absolutely lights up when she talks about her significant other. Every woman, I'm telling you, man, every woman, that should be the standard. If your woman does not look or act like Tallulah when you're talking about your guy, Janelle, it's the same way. Like, Janelle absolutely lights up. Allie, she lights up all the time. Allie lights up, but in kind of a horny way, because I've heard that your guy puts it down in the bedroom.
Hey,
Yeah,
man.
like,
Hey,
Allie's
man.
like, yeah, my guy.
That alpha widow situation, yo, that's real. I ain't going nowhere. And due to Pearl's information that she dropped on us earlier, I am quite sure that he will still keep hacking at it as he ages. So we're good.
All right, good shit. Very good. Fantastic show, ladies. This was another home run. I've got my graphics guy working on a proper introduction, so do not worry about that. before we go around the panel and and the ladies tell us where to find you, season 6 of The Six premieres tonight at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. We might actually be moving that show to either Friday or Saturday, but season 6, episode 1 will be today at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Myself, Minister Jap, Hotep Jesus, Kevin Sabo, Rollo Tomasi. Hey, I got them all. Rollo Tomasi. I always forget one person. Yeah, do not miss that. Do not miss that. It's going to be a fantastic show. We will have guests stop in every once in a while. All right, let's go around the panel. Tell the people where they can find you. Tallulah, lead us off.
Yeah, so you can find me at my new YouTube channel. I'm really new, so I haven't got too much content, but I hope whoever sees it enjoys it. It is The Feminine Truth on YouTube. I have got an Instagram. It's The Feminine Truth, and Twitter, Feminine Truths.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me. So the Feminine Truth, that's what I'm under.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to her YouTube channel, youtube.com/the feminine truth. She got that custom slug. Janelle, tell the people where they can find you.
If you want to find out more about me and see all the amazing things I've done and the hundreds of people's lives that I've changed, then you should go to the ofactors.com. You can buy yoni steaming, all kinds of
Yes,
tools
sir.
for your yoni needs to make you more enjoyable to your partner and to yourself too. And then on Instagram, I am Janelle Gordon, 3 times a charm on my account. I know, do platform. YouTube is Janelle Gordon. I promise y'all, I'm going to be creating some content for y'all today, and I'm going to pre-record it, so it's all good. And you're not going to want to miss it. I've got some really fun stuff in store.
Oh, solid.
And yes, and Instagram, I said, and then TikTok. I post some really great content. I think I'm 100 followers now, 100K, and it's Janelle Gordon, the O Factors. Yeah, and I go live on there too. And yeah, I have links, and then you can find all the ways you can work with me, Patreon, all the affordable stuff. And if you want to get a V-Day gift for your partner, for yourself, we still have some spaces at my retreat in Mexico, February 13th through the 17th. So I'll give you.
That'll go through Valentine's Day. Very good. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Yes, I like that. For all your yoni needs, again, follow her on Instagram at I am Janelle Gordon, #Team Yoni. Pearl, tell the people where they can find you.
Yoni.
Okay, so you guys should subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is just Pearly Things, and I do really fun reactions.
Yes.
Then I'm also on Instagram, and it's just .Pearly Things, and then just Pearly Things on TikTok. I'm trying to get to 1 million followers on TikTok. I'm at 800,000. So help me get there, please.
Yes.
And then,
are you kidding me?
Wow.
You didn't know that?
No.
TikTok's where
Y'all
I
are late.
started. I've been on TikTok for like 2 years. Like that was my first platform.
Hold on. You got a Don DeMarco for that. God damn.
Thank you.
Follow her on TikTok, y'all.
Follow me on TikTok.
Follow me. That.
And then my newest platform is Pearly Things, which is on Twitter. I just hit 100 followers. It was a big deal. So it's Pearly Things, but with a Z at the end instead of an S.
Okay, very good. So Pearl has across all platforms.
She
Pearl
has 813,000 followers.
What's her?
The origin story of it is cool too. What she did to blow up with the Internet Bachelor, y'all, it's funny.
Oh no, that wasn't how I blew up. That actually didn't even do that well on my account. That's my most underrated video. My most underrated. I swear to God.
1.8 million.
Is it Pearly Things? Is that yours?
Just Pearly Things, yeah.
Okay,
I'll put the link in the chat.
Okay, yeah, link is in the chat. Yeah, listen, let's help her get to 1 million followers on TikTok.
I would subscribe, girl, but I'm not on TikTok.
Sorry, I just followed you back.
Yeah, of course.
Girl, I'm still new. I've only had my
do you like that?
2 months, so I'm still learning. Okay,
You're good.
Wow. Okay. Last but certainly not least, the lovely and talented Devin. Where can the people find you?
You can find me right here.
Yeah. What's your Instagram?
Nope.
This is so funny.
I Yeah, I'll be here.
You do have a YouTube channel, though.
I started it. I'm too lazy to post to it.
The YouTube channel is going to be free of all things Donovan Sharp,
Yeah,
so that it doesn't get shadow banned. It looks like we're actually starting to come out of that.
I think I
ban
have like
a
30
little
followers now.
What?
30 subscribers.
All right,
Yeah, go
hashtag
figure.
100.
What's the YouTube channel?
100.
What's the YouTube channel? Is this
I don't
Devin
have a
Sharp?
custom domain yet. I don't have enough.
I think if you just
subscribers.
type Devin Sharp into,
I'll put it in the
YouTube.
chat.
Okay. All right. Very
Okay.
good.
But yeah, I'll be right here next to Donovan. So
Okay.
you
Very
can
good.
find me there.
And your Facebook?
Nope.
I'm trying to get that. Thank you guys very, very much
I need my own
for
soundboard.
tuning. You said what?
I need my own soundboard.
You don't. Tune in at 5:30 this afternoon for season 6, episode 1 of the 6. We're probably going to move the show to either Friday or Saturday because Rollo is very, very busy on Sundays, but he will be there
Awesome.
5:30 on the 6th. We are going to talk about how the red pill community has changed since it's gone mainstream. The red pill has gone mainstream, guys. Kevin Samuels he's always in the news. Fresh and Fit are always going viral. Very good friends with all of those guys. And so I think it'll be interesting to figure out to talk about how the red pill going mainstream has affected it. Allie, what you got?
Right. Okay. So you can find me on Instagram at RealFemSapien.
Oh,
you can
shoot,
find me
I
on
totally
YouTube.
forgot. Sorry about
It's okay,
that.
but I'm a lady, and then I was like, wait a minute, I think I have to be assertive. I'm like, okay, do it.
Yes.
Right.
Damn it.
So you can find me on YouTube at RealFemSapien. Y'all, I'm really close to 2K subscribers. My fiance and I are gonna do a live Q&A about our age gap because I am actually attracted to him. I actually love him. I respect him. He loves and cherishes me. And if you want to figure out how to finesse that situation because you don't think your prospects are decent in your 30s or 40s, because sometimes life begins for men in their late 40s, go ahead, come on by, subscribe. We will take all questions that are respectful. That is all.
Oh wow, dude! I'll tune into that,
That's
man.
cool.
That sounds very.
Hey, you'll have to call me into the studio because I don't have Instagram.
Okay, yeah. I will definitely do that. Yeah, I think that's going to be a great video. That is going to do it. Hang on a second. That is going to do it for this, the 3rd edition of Not All Women. We are going to end the show by listening to this classic Melanin Skin. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We'll see you next
I
week.
can't believe you found this.
I'm finna lie, baby girl bad. She got that melanin skin.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna do a shimmy.
Trying to follow it.
That's that melanin. Yep. Oh, there it is. All the ladies with melanin that's comfortable in the element. Dude, I remember this.
Oh, man.
I forget who the oh wait, hold up. You know,
Oh, remix.
oh, yeah, remix. Uh-oh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Gotta do a shimmy.
Dark skinned women, black skin. Oh boy. We'll see you guys next week.
Nobody Sundays. Woo!
Yes, nobody. Oh my God, don't say that. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Have a great day.
Right, y'all.